Legendary actor Paul Newman once said, "If there truly is a heaven on earth, it must be VIR." For the first time in its half-century history, this truly glorious ribbon of racing real estate hosts the most prestigious event in amateur motorsports, the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs.
Greetings from VIR and the 56th running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. It is time to crown another champion, this time Formula Enterprises, FE and FE2, about to do battle to claim a national championship. Hello everyone, I'm Ryan Marine. Andy Hollis joining me here in the booth. We've got Hayward Wagner down on pit lane, and Andy, this is a transition year for this class with the two classes running simultaneously. That's not always going to be the case looking ahead to the future, and it makes for an interesting opportunity for a couple of twin brothers here this weekend.
It sure does. The Snyder brothers, twins, very young, 16 years old. Last year was their first year trying to do this and win both classes. Mark winning in Formula Enterprises. Liam, unfortunately, finishing second in Formula Enterprises 2, the newer class with the updated motor and the updated transmission. This will be their last opportunity to potentially achieve that. So we'll see if they can make that happen this year.
Well, let's take a moment now to learn a bit more about this class and meet a few of the contenders. FE and FE2, a true driver's class for Formula cars. In a transition year, the Formula Enterprises 2 car is a faster evolution of the original Formula Enterprises platform. With adjustable wings and reliable motors, this is a great entry-level class for open-wheel cars. Let's meet a few of the contenders. From the FE2 ranks, here's Liam Snyder. He finished second at Sonoma, and his brother Mark won in Formula Enterprises. He's raced in Formula 4 this season as well. Next is Scott Reddick. He has 6 Formula Enterprises championships and was third last year in Formula Enterprises 2. He has 8 career Runoffs poles as well. And Paul Schneider, 3 podium finishes at the Runoffs and is at home here at VIR, his home track. He has 3 children, including twin infants, and a very supportive wife, and raced the 2016 Runoffs just 1 week after appendicitis. That should make this weekend easy. And in Formula Enterprises, Jim Lebecco swept the Hoosier Super Tour weekend at VIR. His last trip to the Runoffs was in 2007 when he was a Formula 500 driver. He finished third back then. Mark Snyder is the 2018 winner from Sonoma. He's the Hoosier Super Tour point leader and is just 16 years old. And Justin Huffman, who was second last year at Sonoma. He's been running Formula Enterprises since the beginning of the class back in 2003. He's almost ready to hand the keys to the car over to his 13-year-old son, but that day hasn't come yet. So that's a glimpse at some of the likely contenders in this year's FE and FE2 National Championship race here at VIR, and you heard it in that little piece there. It is a driver's class, no doubt about it, with spec chassis. So let's go down to Hayward Wagner with the storylines from pit lane.
Guys, we don't see a lot of races here at the Runoffs where you have 2 classes running at the same time. And when we do, we use a split start. So we'll have 2 pace cars, 1 pace car pacing about 20 FE2 cars, and then a second pace car that is pacing the 9 or so FE cars. Top 3 cars on the grid here. First one into the grid was Scott Reddick. He's the veteran. He's been here for a little while. The 2 cars on the front row came in just at the very last moment. And I don't want to speculate here, but the rules in SCCA do not allow active tire warming in grid, but they do not mandate what you can and cannot do in your pit spot. So I'm guessing these cars came late to grid for a very good reason.
All right, very interesting. We'll keep an eye on that, especially at the start of this race. This should be fascinating. An open wheel championship here with 2 classes racing simultaneously. Performance difference, how big of a difference do you expect it to be between the 2?
Right, when we look at the qualifying times, we see 151 as the qualifying time for Liam Snyder in FE2, and we see 154 for Mark Snyder in FE. That is actually a little bit bigger than we would normally expect. We typically see it more in the 1 to 2 second range, so that may just have been who was pushing it harder on which day. But It'll be enough that the two classes will not intermingle that much with the split start. Although as the race progresses, the leaders of FE2 may in fact get around to the backside of FE. And there will be some opportunities to use the other rest of the field as picks and stuff in doing some wheel-to-wheel racing there.
You saw a moment ago the pace car out on the track. There might be a slight hold here because in the race that preceded this one, there was a car that lost an engine, it would appear, and dropped a lot of fluid on the circuit. There has been a lengthy effort to try and get that cleaned up. But that just adds to the apprehension. There's a shot of exactly where it happened in our last race.
Right.
But that just adds, as I was saying, to the level of uncertainty for these drivers. Right. That's the first corner they're going to go into at speed, and who knows what the grip level is going to be.
That's exactly right. Now, luckily, the car that whose motor expired there, he pulled to the offside of the track, so you can see that that's very far on the outside of the track. That said, just as you start to hit the brakes at the crest of that hill, this is coming down into turn one along the front straight. Now, just as you start hitting the brakes there, you will be in that oil dry, and so we'll see a lot of smoke coming up through it as drivers come through there. But very shortly thereafter, they'll get back on clean pavement, and the rest of the race can be progressed from there. But for sure, I'm guessing these guys are going to be being a little gingerly coming through that section right there.
Well, let's take a look at the starting grid while we have a moment. We'll run through the top 5 in both classes. Our pole sitter right there is Liam Snyder. He is the Tire Rack Pole Award winner, as you can see. Beautiful red number 28 machine. He's from Southlake, Texas, and he was wanting to represent. He said he forgot his cowboy hat. He wanted to wear that at the shoot that we had earlier this week. You saw him on that just a few moments ago. Rhett Barkow will start in second. Scott Reddick, one to watch for sure, starting in the third spot in FE2. Sandy Satullo will start fourth, and Paul Schneider. We've got Snyders and Schneiders in this race, including a Mark Snyder and Mark Schneider. So good luck to us to try and settle through that. Speaking of Mark Snyder, he is the pole sitter in the FE category. Charles Russell Turner will start alongside in second. Justin Huffman and James Lebeco third and fourth, and Ray Mason will start in the fifth spot in FE. So the car's waiting just a little while longer as the track inspection continues. This track, 3.27 miles, the full course at VIR, hosting the runoffs for the first time and presenting a very big challenge for car and driver alike.
Sure does, and in a spec class, it's all about the driver to a large degree, but it's also about setup. While these are legitimate race cars, purpose-built race cars, as you can see, open wheel formula cars, highly adjustable as to alignment, and a little bit of aero on them as well. They can really work these cars hard, and that's the kind of thing that you learn about. And what that does is it gives you good setup information to move forward with a racing program. So you end up learning a lot about chassis engineering by playing with these cars. They're very robust. The car's typically not going to break on you. So you learn a lot. Every session you go out there, you take good notes, and you can apply that to the next time. Great learning platform for setup, but also a great learning platform for driving, because there's so much information out there, and the manufacturer helps you out with some baseline setup information and things like that, and then you go from there and experiment.
So we will be settling our Formula Enterprises Championships in just a matter of moments here in VIR.
Yeah, one of the things you'll notice on these cars while we're laying out for the break here for the CBS broadcast, you can say, oh, look at this, car number 66 stuck on grid there. That's Mark Schneider.
Yes.
Just now getting going, and if he can catch the field, then he can still go out. If they pass him, then not going to go well for him. But some reason that car failing to get started initially, it doesn't look like it's under full power either as he's coming down there. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, as you can see when we were looking at the close-up of these cars, the tires on these things are not particularly huge for the amount of power the car makes. They're relatively lightweight. They've got some downforce there with that rear and front wing on the car, but it's definitely more of a driver's car. It's not like a Formula A. They've got gobs of power, big tires, and lots of wings on it. These cars, while they have all those things, they're much smaller in size, so you really have to work the car on the pavement through those driver's controls.
This race is happening at the end of our day today, so this track probably has some marble buildup. It's probably got some dust, as you can see right there in that shot, that other cars have drug onto the track. That's something for these drivers to keep in mind. And this curbing, for some classes, is not a real challenge, but I get the sense that these drivers don't want to be using it too much in this race.
Right, I agree with that. That'll be interesting to watch. Their line down there through Oak Tree that we just saw. Will they go over that and track out to the new pavement on the other side or not? The same sort of thing down in turn 3. We'll see if they're using that stuff or not with these cars, because it can really upset a car that doesn't have either a soft suspension or a lot of downforce to push that car down onto the pavement.
So after the slight delay, looks like we should be coming around to the green, and that is very welcome news. Lights still on the pace car for now, but you can see with the vigor that the drivers are weaving back and forth to bring the temperatures up, pressures up. Definitely getting close to the start. The FE2 field in alignment. Lights off on the safety vehicle as we get set to start the National Championship runoff race for Formula Enterprises. It'll be a split start. As Hayward told us earlier, FE2 will be taking the green first. The Formula Enterprises field of 9 cars will follow behind. Front row, Liam Snyder and Red Barkow. They will be leading the field to the green. Perfect alignment, at least through the first 6 or 7 rows. Already some cars poking their noses out a little bit further back just to get a little bit of vision, waiting for the green flag, and it's in the air. Here we go as Barkow gets a nice start. He's in that orange machine. Already to the inside, Snyder trying to defend, also getting out of that oil dry. Everyone weaving around, a couple of cars locking up the brakes, and Barkow able to sneak around the outside. He's got the lead, and the battle is on for second right behind him.
Boy, what a challenge coming through that oil dry like that. Almost like driving in the rain with the mist in the air. Very difficult visibility there for those drivers. So clean start, kudos to them. Whoa, and as I say clean start, we have a driver going off.
Not what you want there in the early stages of this race. That's going to be a setback there. We'll try and get a number a little later as the fight is already pretty thick deep in the field. Look at this field coming up through the S's for the first time. It's a glorious sight. Just an amazing racetrack. And up front, Barkow has checked out on the field. The Freeport, Illinois native, as we drop back now to take a look at the Formula Enterprises grid coming to take the green flag. Mark Snyder, twin brother of Liam Snyder, the Tire Rack Pole Award winner in FE2. He's the pole winner in FE. Charles Russell Turner from Virginia, not too far away in Montpelier. He's to the outside, and it's going to be 3 wide. How about this move in the oil dry? Around the outside, James Lebecco, the Ohio native. He's on the move, an aggressive start, and he's going to have the preferred inside line. Can he snag the lead away from Mark Snyder? Yes, he can.
Wow, Lebecco having a great season this year. 5 wins and 6 Super Tour appearances, and he's known as a great starter, and that is why right there.
Yeah, Mark Snyder actually talked about that in an interview to keep an eye on that, and James Lebecco right on form, able to take the lead away. So the Snyder brothers both starting on pole, both dropping back. Their goal this weekend, it's the last chance they'll get to do it with the split classes, is to sweep the weekend essentially in Formula Enterprises between the two classes. But they've got some work to do as we see Lebeco starting to pull away on the field. What a start that was.
Lebeco, of course, a Runoffs rookie. This first time at the National Championship Runoffs. Certainly not his first time here to VIR, but he's not from the area. He's from Illinois, so he doesn't get down here as much as some guys do.
This is back in the FE2 grid now. These cars, really visually, you can't tell the difference. So bear with us, but one lap complete, and it seems to me that Liam Snyder's been able to close that gap just a little bit. It's a 1 second gap at the line. Curious to see what it looks like after that, but look how close this is between Snyder, Satullo, Schneider, and Reddick. That is just a half second separating all of those cars I just mentioned.
Sure is. Snyder, though, you've got a car going off.
That's some big air right there. That's not going to be comfortable in a car like this. And was that the leader? I'll have to wait and see when we get a good look at the number for sure. But, oh boy, that was a wild ride.
Indeed it was. That was at the top of the hill there at the roller coaster, what we call that section of the track there.
Here we are in the FE2 field. I think that's the FE field because that's Lebeco out in front, and he's going to lose the lead now. Mark Snyder able to take it back. A gutsy move there, only took him a lap. He was able to track him back down and make that pass.
Well, and oftentimes you just got to let those tires come up the temp, get the pressures just right. So even though he may have lost it right there in that bold move at the start, you just start working away at it, chipping away at it.
Now here comes Charles Russell Turner, the Virginian, who was demoted a little bit. He's dropped back to third. And now he's starting to put some pressure on Lebeco as we take a look at Barkow leading the way. Fight further back, and here's a replay. This is the off that we saw earlier, the number 5 machine. Just a little bit too much speed carried into Oak Tree, it would appear.
Yeah, again, early in the race, tires maybe not up.
That was
asking a little too much.
Bailey Monette, the Georgia native, went for a wild ride there. I wonder if the car is okay. These cars are not really set up to go off-roading like this. A monster truck this is not, so we'll have to wait and see if we can get a report on that. But right now at the front of the field, Barkow and Snyder, the lead stable at about 1 second after a couple of laps here.
Coming down that long, I take that back, that's into Oak Tree there. That was the back straight. Now we're up onto the back straight. Now what they call Madison Avenue here.
Interesting to see the leaders going up over that curbing, using the extra pavement that was given to them in the recent repave. Dropping back a little bit. Battling is for third, if I'm not mistaken.
These cars all with Mazda engines. FE2 running the newer Mazda MZR that you see in Miatas and a whole bunch of other Mazda products. The older cars with a Mazda engine as well, but a much older engine. Harder to get parts for those old engines anymore, so modern power plant, the new way to go here.
Back to the FE class where Snyder led over Lebeco when they came around at the stripe. That's still the case here. I can't get over that start from Lebeco. That was some gutsy stuff. No one knew what the grip level was going to be, and he went straight into the oil dry, undeterred, and somehow made it stick.
Yeah, that's definitely a special skill set, being able to go well on cold tires in unknown conditions. Got to have ultimate confidence and ultimate car control skills.
So it's Barkow leading in FE2. Your leader in FE is Snyder. Mark Snyder leading the way in the FE category. The battle is for second behind him. This is Charles Russell Turner, the Virginian, here on home soil, trying to make his way around Lebeco for the second spot. Can't make it stick that time. but he's been on his horse. That might be the car to watch in the FE ranks.
And oftentimes, when you see a driver doing that, they're just probing the other driver to see where the other guy's weaknesses are and his strengths are. And he'll bank that knowledge, perhaps try to pass again another time when there's a slightly better opportunity.
Here is the FE2 lead right now. Barkow took it on the opening lap, and it's taken Liam Snyder a little while to get comfortable, but he is right back in the mix in the slipstream. He's going to be patient this time, still plenty of time with 11 and a half or so laps to go. I think he's just sizing up his quarry at the moment. Barkow is going to have to be awfully defensive here, and he still has a long time left to try and hold on to that top spot.
The other thing you notice now, we're starting to get, it's later in the day, you're starting to get that sun and shadows as it goes through those trees there. Different parts of this track, you're going to have the sun in your eyes, you're going to have shadows, and it's going to be very, very challenging for these drivers to be able to see through to the apex of the next turn. Big off there. That is car 83.
Thomas Green from Lake Mary, Florida goes on a ride. We've seen a couple cars go off. Here's a replay, I think, and we catch it as he goes off, and I think that's another case of just carrying a little bit too much speed into the corner.
Yeah, and one of the things about this track, the way the pavement works is if you just get a wheel off just a little bit, it drops away very suddenly.
Up front, just taking a look at timing and scoring, and Snyder in FE2 just set the fastest lap of the race. The gap from first to second down under a half a second at .343. So that's going to be a fight to keep an eye on. So is this gaggle of cars. Oh my goodness. This is what a spec class is all about. Close racing like this where, as you said earlier, it's up to the driver to make the difference.
Sure is. Here, we're seeing them here come through the upper S's, characteristic section of this track.
Looks like that is Davenport in 11th in the FE category. So he's got McEwen and Cruz right in tow. Beck and Haltom also in the shot. Look at this train of cars.
And watch how these cars, each one of those apexes of those turns is a rise and a dip, and these cars are just sticking right to them because they're purpose-built race cars, unlike some of the production cars that run here in the runoffs. And it's much easier to get through those sections, so you got to carry that speed much, much longer though, up to through South Bend.
Beck is able to take the 13th spot away from Cruz in what has to be, I think, a legacy livery, something that anyone who was a fan of Formula One would like. Look at that red kind of throwback Ferrari paint scheme on Cruz's car. And here we go. Another good battle on this racetrack. There's no shortage of them in this field. 10 laps to go and plenty of time to fight this out.
And that's always the great thing about SCCA Club Racing is there's always a battle. There's always somebody who's running at the pace you are. So even if you're not running at the pointy end, you still can have a great battle out here on track. And it's all about fun. This is for recreation. These are very passionate, amateur motorsports enthusiasts.
And what we saw a moment ago was Yeatman trying to chase down Burt for 9th. We're back to the FE class here. Where the battle for second continues on. This has been a lot of fun. Lebeco holding it, at least for the moment, but Turner is right there applying pressure, and none of them are letting Snyder get away.
No, they're not at all, and they're going to get a little bit of drafting help here. Those two trailing cars will slowly pull up on the one in front. And again, these are spec cars, so nobody has a horsepower advantage over anybody else.
Mark Snyder, the leader, he was the reigning champion in FE, won at Sonoma last year. He won the Tire Rack Pole Award here by 0.2 of a second over Charles Russell Turner, who's running in third, applying the pressure, as you can see on the screen. Snyder is eligible for the SCCA Road Racing Super Sweep if he can get the win here. But here we go. Battle for second is on. To the outside is Lebeco. And can the pass be made?
Look at that, trying to do the outbraking maneuver around the outside.
Lebeco is confident on that outside run, isn't he?
Well, we understand that there's a new sealer that's been applied out there, and even though it's the long way around, there's a little bit more grip out there, so you've got to trade off distance for speed.
What a great display of driving and respect between those two, going wheel to wheel in open wheel race cars like they did. That was tremendous.
It really was, and especially an open wheel, because you don't really want to be touching wheels with these cars. So each driver giving a little bit of room, a little bit of racing room to the other guy. Nobody wants to win because you bang the other guy out of the way.
That gives Mark Snyder a bit of breathing room. His brother Liam in FE2 was down under 1/10 of a second behind the leader Barkow and set the race's fastest lap once again. So everywhere you look, you got something to keep an eye on with this class.
Indeed you do, and that is a lap record there in FE2. The old record held by Scott Reddick at 1:53.4. And we are well under that now. It's 1:52.1.
Reddick running in the 4th spot, and we're going to have some traffic here between the two classes as they mix it up, and that could be the break that Liam Snyder needs. He's got to run to the outside, and he got it done.
Oh, wow, what a great pass there. A very challenging place to pass.
And you have just a split second to make that decision if you're going to go for it or not, and you're trusting your opponent to know you're coming.
That's exactly right there. Yeah. Normally, a pass into South Bend is a risky maneuver, because if you go over that edge, we talked a little bit before where that pavement drops off quickly. It especially drops off quickly there, and when you go for a ride there, you're going a long, long way.
Barkow able to clear the traffic as well, and this fight's not over. He's in the slipstream. We've got a couple others fighting for position ahead. Look at this traffic. This is amazing. Multi-class racing just spices it up a little bit extra. What a challenge.
And the difference between these two cars is not that much as far as the power goes. So it's not like you're going to be able to really dig the guy off the turn. You really have to work it a little bit.
Working their way past Samuel Harrington, part of the FE field. Liam Snyder towing Red Barkow along. Barkow looks one way, then tucks back in line. And how about that move? That's the 73 of Schneider. Looks like he's able to take the 2nd spot away as it stands right now.
We've got a car off here.
And
Oak Tree turn.
Oh, big contact. That Schneider, who we were just talking about, just took the 2nd spot, has some major front end damage. That wing has been shattered. That's let Barkow back by, and now you gotta wonder about Snyder's car. That took a pretty big shot.
It sure did. That's likely. When you lose that wing like that, you're going to have a lot of issues with lack of downforce. Car's going to pick up a nasty aero push. And we've got a yellow, looks like full course yellow.
That might be for the car we saw off in the tire barrier in Oak Tree. We just had that brief glimpse of it because this battle's been so good. And yeah, there you see for Schneider, that's a tough break because he had a great run going, got up to 2nd just a moment ago, started 5th. North Carolina native. North Carolinians claim this track as much as the Virginians do. It's right there on the border. I think I crossed the border 3 times on my drive in from the hotel.
Yeah, you absolutely do coming out here. It's a gorgeous area too. It's out in the countryside. It was originally carved out of a big meadow with a number of trees and things.
Yeah, did a nice job using the natural environment to create a fantastic racetrack, putting on fantastic racing as well in Formula Enterprises. So we've got full course yellow here with a couple of Snyder brothers out front. They're trying to pull off the Snyder sweep. Not sure if this yellow is good or bad for them. I guess it depends on the length, huh?
Yeah, it sure does. It sure does.
Beautiful Camaro pace vehicle. It's got the special livery on it this weekend, celebrating 75 years at the Sports Car Club of America. And a really nice livery showcasing that heritage.
First time for SCCA back in the Southeast at a natural terrain road course since what, the
93,
90s? Something like that.
93 at Road Atlanta.
It's great to see it. And a lot of folks coming out that hadn't made it out to the runoffs in a while, as well as the usual suspects making the tow out here.
That's been one of the fun themes, I think, for the last couple of editions of this runoffs. Going out to Sonoma, you got a bunch of fresh faces from the West Coast that, you know, this is your chance.
Right.
You don't get that opportunity. It had only been a couple of times in the last several decades that they'd had a runoffs out west, and so you saw a ton of new faces running out there. And again, this is a part of the country that has a rich heritage of hosting the runoffs, specifically with Road Atlanta, but to place it here at one of the iconic venues in North America, this track is something special, and I think that also ended up drawing some people for the opportunity to race here. There's a lot of people making a debut either at this track or a Runoffs debut because they saw this as a destination.
Right, no doubt about that. I mean, VIR, classic road racing track, and a very well-balanced track. That's the other great thing about it. I mean, it's got some horsepower sections. Everybody likes to think about that so much, but it also has got great handling sections to display your setup knowledge and the handling of your sports car.
Running behind the pace car at the moment, but the brothers Snyder leading in FE.
I probably need new tires.
You do.
What if they sold tires online?
We do. We're TireRack.com.
They could offer lots of tires
We have so many tires.
and help you find the right tire.
It's called the Tire Decision Guide.
Oh, and they could ship them to a nearby mechanic.
We shipped to over 7,000 independent recommended installers.
This is an amazing idea. Sorry.
TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Experience the reimagined Mazda 3.
Still under full course yellow conditions at VIR. This is the Formula Enterprises Championship race at the 56th SCCA National Championship Runoffs. This race brought to a bit of a standstill to some degree due to some contact that happened on track that might have led to some debris, but also a car off into the tire barrier down in the Oak Tree corner. And Andy, I'm not sure we ever did catch a number, but we've seen a couple of times throughout the proceedings today, if the tire barrier gets dislodged at all, you have to take your time making sure you get that rectified, as another car has found problems here. That's Green, one of the FE2 competitors here under the yellow.
Yeah, don't know what's up with that, but car coming to rest, apparently losing drive. Could be a gearbox, could be drivetrain otherwise related, could be electrical, actually. That's oftentimes the case, particularly when you're just sort of puttering around like we're doing right now. You're not operating the vehicle in its typical designed range. I mean, these are race cars. They're designed to be driven hard, although these are production-based engines. But you just never know. They're tuned up to run at higher speeds and higher RPMs.
We understand that it was Jeff Beck whose car made contact with the tire barrier. So I believe that is what led to this safety car intervention here.
Yeah, Beck out of Ingleside, Illinois, suburb of Chicago.
Still under yellow behind the safety car at VIR. The Formula Enterprises Championship race has been slowed, and we'll show you why here in just a moment. We've got a couple of replays to get to. Field still circling around VIR behind the safety car here at the Formula Enterprises National Championship Runoffs race. We went to safety car a few laps ago with 6 laps remaining now. We'll show you why we went to yellow in just a moment. But first, a look at the pass for the lead. We had Barkow leading in FE2, and all of a sudden, our pole sitter, Snyder, was able to make that pass and make it stick. Liam Snyder really aggressive there. And that was the difference, at least at the moment. Snyder does hold the lead. This might be the back end of it, able to make that pass stick. Pretty impressive, and this is why we are under yellow. The 71 machine going off and into the tire barrier. That was indeed Jeff Beck. Look at this close racing. This was the other bit of contact that happened around the same time. We had just seen Schneider take the second spot away from Barkow. Then he got into the back of Snyder. As much running as we've done under the yellow, though, Andy, do you think that Snyder can be confident that that didn't do any damage to the race car, or is he as unsure as we are?
I think he's as unsure as we are, and particularly if he lost a little bit off the front wing there. We did see some body work go up in the air. Anytime you lose a little bit of that front downforce, the car suddenly stops responding to your steering inputs the same way. You also lose a little bit of braking. So you just have to be careful with all those things. And at the end of this restart, he's going to have cold tires to go on top of that. What I'm looking for is Lebeco on the cold tire situation, just as he did the start. We'll see how he is able to handle this situation, because he was magic on the start earlier.
That's a great point from the FE ranks. And again, there are 2 classes racing simultaneously here, FE2 and FE. This is the final year that the 2 will be combined as the class is transitioning towards the new FE2 platform. But just a tremendous start from Lebeco, coming to the green flag and then taking that outside lane 3 wide into some oil dry that was down from a previous race, gave him the lead temporarily. But right now, the brothers Snyder controlling this race. Mark Snyder leading in FE2, make that an FE, and Liam Snyder leading in FE2. Lights still on the pace car at the moment. We talked earlier about this class and these cars. They are so equal that it really puts the emphasis on the drivers, and that's what makes this such a good training ground for up-and-comers and veterans alike.
Right, and these are true formula cars, real live race cars, production built for racing only, and so you learn a lot about driving them. More importantly, you learn a lot about setup. And you start to learn as a driver how to describe things with what the car is doing to your race engineer. You learn the vocabulary for that. You learn what sorts of fixes will make what sorts of changes in the handling of the car. That's all part of growing up in the sport and being able to move up the ranks into other sorts of open wheel competition. The knowledge is also useful for production-based racing, but it's especially useful for the way that open wheel cars handle, because they are a lot more highly tuned than your typical production race car.
Well, speaking of moving up the ranks, that is something that the SCCA does really well. There are a lot of different avenues to get involved, not just in terms of behind the wheel, but we'll focus on that for the moment. And the Track Night in America initiative is certainly one of them, a chance to bring your own street car to the track in a controlled environment and really get a sense for what your car is capable of. And I know that there is a concern surrounding that a lot of times with not wanting to risk your own vehicle, but with insurance groups like Haggerty, which has come on board as a sponsor and a big supporter of the SCCA, there are opportunities to insure your car for a Track Night in America kind of scenario. So 5 laps to go right now. It's the Formula Enterprises National Championship race, hoping to come back to green momentarily. Five laps to go. The safety car continuing to lead this field around. It's led, unfortunately, a lot of laps in this race. It's been an extended delay here due to some contact and the car of Beck in the tire barrier a little while ago.
Absolutely, and as you mentioned, you got to reset those tires, make it safe for racing later on, because you never know, lightning could strike twice in the same place. Cars oftentimes end up in the same places in tire barriers and things like that. So you got to get all that stuff put back in place before you go live racing again, and that's what we're doing.
Well, there is a thing they call the sympathy spin, right? You see the guy spin in front of you, you do the exact same thing, and if you both spin in the same place, most likely you'll end up in the same place as well. And I think that carries over to what we're talking about here. If somebody can find the tire barrier at that certain spot, somebody else can too, and you got to make sure.
Class.
That's right. You got to make sure it is just right. Good news, lights off of the Camaro pace car. Really happy to see that. This is going to be interesting with the two classes intermingled coming to the line. We had a separate start, not so with the restart, so this could be wild. But the good news for the FE2 leaders is I think they're going to have clear track to battle it out amongst themselves. Traffic won't be a factor for them for the final 4 laps.
No doubt. The more interesting one is going to be right there at that dividing line between FE and FE2. You got Snyder and Lebeco there. And we've seen Lebeco being a phenomenal starter, but he's going to have to do it through traffic.
And that'll be the battle for FE. Right now, though, it's Liam Snyder that you're looking at right there in the red car. He's got the green helmet. He has Barcal in the orange 01 right behind. Those two have both led this race. It was a great start from Barcal to take the lead from Snyder on the opening lap. We'll see if a lesson was learned as Snyder defends the inside, does so competently, and is able to jet away. Meanwhile, it's 3 wide further back, but so far clean and green on the restart.
Yeah, Snyder again using that outside line through the exit of turn 1 where there's that sealer and a little bit more grip at this time of day. Barcal taking the more traditional inside approach there, a little less distance. And it's where, another car off.
Couple of cars off. And into the tire barrier there as well. We see the 86, that's Eric Cruz. And can't catch a number on the other car. We'll get that to you as soon as we can. Right now, standing yellows covering that section of the track with 4 laps to go.
And that's near the back of the FE2 field, and I'm wondering if there wasn't some overlap there with the FE cars.
I suspect you're right. That's a very good guess. So is that Reddick right there? It is in the 17. Haven't called his name a whole lot, but he was the track record holder coming into the weekend. Lost that in qualifying, but we know he's quick. He has some experience in these cars, and right now he's putting the pressure on Barcal, trying to take away that second spot.
Yeah, 6 gold medals back in Formula Enterprises for Reddick. Made the jump to FE2. Last year was 3rd at Sonoma, but has not yet gotten to the top step.
Take a look at the replay of what happened a few moments ago. We're still green at the moment. Looked like it's a case of these open wheel cars trying to run side by side through a really treacherous part of this track. It's tough to navigate 2 abreast.
No doubt. Coming down there through the roller coaster, and you can see why it's aptly named the roller coaster. Doesn't look like much on a track map on a flat piece of paper, but boy, when you get out there, car is always turning one way or the other. Oh, we got another one off here.
This would be in is the 7 car, I think. That would be Dean Opperman, who started in the 6th spot, if I'm not mistaken. He was running 6th the last time around. He was gone sliding off there in the final corner.
I have to wonder if these are drivers driving the cars to the limit when the tires are not quite back up to temperature yet. Because again, this is the first lap after that long yellow flag area.
Might be onto something there as you can see the sun is starting to set. The shadows are getting longer. Look at this fight. And that's at the front of the FE field. Wow. That is Mark Snyder, the defending champion, and he's got his hands full at the moment. Running in 2nd. In FE is now Rackley, the 79 of Lee Rackley from Clinton, North Carolina. Started this race back in the 7th spot. Mark Snyder running right there. Wow, what a race this has turned into. It's been kind of wild up and down.
Well, we're seeing that on timing scoring now. We're getting that overlap between the 2 classes. And so each of these drivers, that's one of those skills that you've got to learn, is how to navigate through the backside of the field as you start to lap them, and that's what's happening here in FE and FE2. They're actually not lapping them. In this case, they got intermingled because of the yellow flag situation.
Less than 3 laps to go to settle a national championship. And looked like Mark Snyder, the reigning champion, shuffled around a little bit. We talked about that coming to the restart. Having these classes all mixed up like that really complicates things, and sure enough, Turner goes to the top. How about Charles Russell Turner? He takes the lead in FE. Lebeco followed him through. Snyder dropped all the way down to third in that wild sequence. Unbelievable action.
It surely is.
So 2 laps to go here at VIR. This race coming down to the wire, Formula Enterprises National Championship race, both FE and FE2 racing simultaneously. This is the battle for the podium here in FE. Looks like Snyder has worked his way back up into the second spot. He's tracking down Turner. That's the battle for the lead, in fact, in this subclass. Final year of the class. Whoever wins it this year, they get to claim the title of champion and go off into the sunset, basically the undisputed champion of the class.
That's right. They will always be reigning champ in Formula Enterprises.
Not much time left for Mark Snyder here in that gold #1. His brother Liam is leading in FE2. They so desperately both want to get a win. On the same weekend, they came close a year ago, but it was Mark that won. Liam got second. The roles are reversed at the moment, but it's not done yet. Mark closing in a little bit there. Oh! Sliding a little wide was Turner. That might create an opportunity, and we do have some out-of-class traffic to deal with. That traffic should be faster in a straight line.
And that actually creates a drafting opportunity for the FE cars behind them. But they're likely to catch them in the roller coaster here just due to their turning quicker lap times, and that's where they're going to be turning quicker lap times.
To the inside there, that is not for position. I think that is the car that we saw of Schneider, right? That was caught up in that incident early in the race. Paul Schneider.
I believe so.
So if you're in his position, obviously they brought that car in for repairs. He's got the new front wing on. You really don't want to mess up this battle for the championship in the other class that's happening ahead. Our leader has taken the white flag. It is Liam Snyder leading the way in FE2. There is the gap, first to second. Snyder over Barkow, Reddick running in third, 1.2 seconds separating the top 3. Liam Snyder had the whole offseason, the whole season this year as well to think about that. His brother Mark is in the thick of things. He's side by side for the lead. He's on the inside, has the preferred line through here, going wheel to wheel and not going to be able to make the pass. That was a stout defense of the lead that time by Mason.
Absolutely, as they come up through the lower S's, also called the snake, up under the bridge, full throttle up through here, all the way to the top up to South Bend. We'll see if that's where he can get that pass done.
Excuse me, that's Turner there defending the lead. He's got it in the 22. It's a 3-way battle, though, as Snyder takes a look to the inside and has the door slammed shut.
And that was the pass that he was successful at earlier, but this time Turner knew better. Oh, right into the back of him.
Oh, man, and the major front wing damage for Snyder as the 22 of Turner goes around. Not sure how this one's going to play out post-race, but for now, Snyder does have the lead, but a ton of damage.
Yep, and no wing.
And pressure coming from behind. He has no idea how much grip he's going to have when he gets to the next corner. Up at the front, there's been another pass for the lead, and Barkow has been able to sneak past Snyder for the FE2 lead. He'll take the championship as well by a half a second. Wonder what happened to Snyder there on the final lap. Well, we know what happened to one of the Snyders. Not sure what happened to Liam. Barkow comes through. He wins it by 0.483 seconds. Here's the drag race to the line in FE. The damaged car is Mark Snyder. And can he hang on? He might need that nose when they come to the stripe to win this one.
To win by a nose.
Oh, that was too close to call. Will that timing and scoring settle it out? It gives it to Snyder, but not by much. That is by 1/1000th of a second.
Wow, it doesn't get any closer than that. They're going to have to look at some photos on that.
And where is the transponder located?
That's, yeah.
Because I don't think it's at the tip, well, it can't be in the tip of the nose. Official record is a visual, we're being told, so there's a chance that not having the nose
Right.
could cost Snyder the race. Still not sure how the contact is going to be adjudicated. Oh my goodness, what just happened? Let's look at this again.
Here we go, coming down to the start-finish line. Wheel to wheel. And that's the aerodynamics. The drag having an effect.
I have no
As
idea.
Snyder slows a little because he's got that brick of a front. Can you tell?
It does come down to the nose cone,
It
doesn't
does.
it?
It does.
That is amazing. So timing and scoring gives it to Snyder. Somebody's going to have to look at a photo or look at our footage and try and figure this one out. Thank goodness it's not us. If it holds, that would be the closest finish in the history of the runoff since the transponder era.
Right. 1/1000. That's why we time it to 1,000.
The problem is, I think my eyes at least tell me that that one is going to go to Lebeco by a nose. But as far as trying to settle the timing, because who knows if they're ever going to be able to figure out what it officially was.
And of course there was the contact earlier, so we'll have to have the stewards have a look at all of that.
A lot to sort through. We will be talking to our champions in just a moment. Well, there you go. Dramatic finish in both of our classes. And there is your champion in the FE2 category, Rhett Barkow from Freeport, Illinois, working to get that helmet off. Can't wait to hear how he got it done from our man on the ground, Hayward Wagner. Hayward, what does he have to say?
Rhett, our cameras missed your pass for the lead. Tell us what happened.
So he messed up an oak tree, and I'm drafting him down the straightaway, and I'm on the outside of a roller coaster, and then he dives inside. I brake, cut outside of 16A or B, and then I'm there for hog pen, and I come out with the win.
And that was on the last lap?
Yes, sir.
What a move, what a race. What does it mean to you to win the runoffs?
I honestly don't know. I'm just more than ecstatic right now with my season this year, and I'm excited to see what has to come.
Awesome. Well, you get one more lap, a victory lap. Enjoy it.
All right, sounds good, sir.
Well, safe to say, Rhett Barkow deserved that one. I take a little solace from the fact that he lived it, and he's still not quite sure what happened. Right. So we're out of luck there for sure. What a race that turned out to be. Let's look at the final results here in FE2. Rhett Barkow by a half a second over Liam Snyder. Scott Reddick, another medal for him. He ends up in third. Sandy Satullo, Kelton Jago in fourth and fifth. John Yeatman had the spin, recovers to finish in sixth. Thomas Burt, Todd Vandecour, who's been a busy guy racing in multiple classes today, in eighth. Alistair McEwen and Robert Vanment, ninth and 10th in FE2 as this class heads off into the next era. Congratulations to Rhett Barkow for the championship there, and Hayward is back downstairs.
Liam, a heck of a battle here for the national championship at FE2. What was that last lap like for you?
Well, the car actually hasn't been pulling as much as it has been, so I'm trying to keep speed up in the corner, go a little too fast, and the sun's in my eye, and I missed my apex and dropped one wheel off, and he got by me. When it's as close as this, as the competition is as close as it is, you know, you can't make any mistakes, and I sadly made a mistake one more year in a row.
Well, it's good enough for a second here at the Runoffs. Congratulations on the silver.
Thank you very much.
And I'm going to grab Scott Reddick real quick. Scott? Scott? You didn't have a boring lap, did you?
No, it was exciting. Lots of battling. I didn't have tire warmers, so I didn't have the best start. Fell back a little bit, and took me a few laps to get some heat in my tires, and then I was able to run them down. And we encountered traffic and had a very long full course caution, and then I was right there for a couple laps, and then I think I maybe had a tire going down a little bit. I just couldn't put the power down in the low speed stuff, and had to try and run them down the higher speed stuff.
Well, congratulations on another Runoffs podium. I know it's not the one you wanted the most, but adding to the collection.
Thank you. I got to thank my team, Alliance Autosport, and this race is in memory of Rick Carter, who unfortunately passed away a couple months ago, who was a huge member of our team.
Thank you.
Well, that is your podium in FE2. As wild as that was, and it was wild, FE might have been crazier. So we had Snyder and Lebeco, at least as timing and scoring called it, by 1/1000th of a second, first and second. Haven't had a chance to mention third place, which went to Mason. So a nice job by Ray Mason from Blacklick, Ohio. Started in 5th, survived the chaos, and was there at the end. Not too far behind either, just a couple of seconds. So he would have had a pretty great seat for that fight. Speaking of good seats, the best seat in the house belongs to our champion, and Hayward is there.
Actually, we're here with second place finisher at the moment, Jim Lebeco, and our guys in the booth are guessing this one's going to take a little while to unravel. That was a wild race. What did you see?
You know, it was absolutely a fantastic battle with Mike Schneider, just like we've had all year. Russ Turner came in there out of nowhere. We had a fantastic race. You know, really running together right until we got to that restart where we caught up to that FE2 traffic. 5 wide down into turn 1, 3-4 wide down into turn 4. I mean, just wild race the entire time. They stacked up, had an impact down at Oak Tree on the next to last lap. Mark's nose comes off and gives me a big squeeze up the front straightaway. I drive up through the grass. We'll see how it shakes out. He didn't have a nose. I want the photo on this thing, but man, what a great season we've had racing together in this Super Tour series and at the Runoffs.
Yeah, we feel pretty confident he would have been ahead of you if he'd had a wing, but he didn't have a wing, so we're not sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, God, what a race. What a great race. It was fantastic.
Well, congratulations to you. A great start, really a great start to the race and a great drive. We're going to grab Ray real quick. I think we might have them all now.
Yeah, we got an Alliance Auto Sport podium almost. So yeah, great run. I started off P5, a little disappointed on my qualifying time, but it is what it is. So you got to work and you got to dig. And I think my Justin Hoffman, a good racing friend of mine, went off somewhere. I think because he disappeared all of a sudden. So I'll tell you, any way I can get it.
Anyway, well, let's grab Mark real quick. Congratulations on the podium. Mark, tell us about Oak Tree on the last lap.
Not amusement park, put it that way. Russ got loose in front of me because that FE2 checked up, and sunlight, and all of a sudden, boom, I'm in the air, landed. The mirrors were all twisted and everything, and I just ducked my head. Parts went flying over me. I went into hog pin, almost thought I was flying off, and then all of a sudden, Lebeco's there, and I was like, oh my goodness. Shifted one last time and closed my eyes, and we got it by, I don't even know how much we got it by.
So the official right now is that you got it by 0.001, the narrowest margin of victory possible. They're going to look at the pictures and see where the cars actually are since the nose wasn't there. But right now, you're holding the narrowest margin victory in the history of the Runoffs.
Well, that would be awesome. And I know last year we got the youngest victory in the Runoffs, so something about this class and me keeps on doing records, huh? But yeah, crazy race, awesome driving by both of them. That was probably the most fun I've had in this car for a long time.
Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. You guys have a good one.
Wow. Well, that's what it's all about. Great work, Hayward, trying to sort all that out on pit lane. A review of video evidence by timing and scoring ultimately revealed that James Lebeco's car crossed the finish line first, giving him the national championship. Mark Snyder was also penalized one position for contact, promoting Ray Mason to second, with Snyder third in the final results. Taking a look at those final results, as mentioned, James Lebeco is your national champion. Ray Mason finishes second, Mark Snyder completing the podium in third. Lee Rackley, Matthew Cutter, Charles Russell Turner, Samuel Harrington, Bailey Monette, and Justin Hoffman round out the running order.
And here we go at the beginning. Lots of oil dry, lots of blind drivers coming down in that first turn. We negotiate that part.
And Barkow with a great start to get around the outside and take the lead in FE2. We had some crazy moments, including cars sliding off the track. Full course yellow for a car in the tire barrier. This was not that, but that was an example of these drivers pushing the limits. Another example of it right there.
It is the National Championship Runoffs, and that's what you do. You don't want to think about it all winter that you didn't quite push hard enough.
Here was a great battle for the lead, and this was in the midst of out-of-class traffic. Had some wild stuff going on in their contact. That was second, running into the back of first at the time. Schneider on Snyder climb right there. And here we go, another wild spin. That was coming out of the final corner of the track.
You can see those shadows getting longer already, and both drivers mentioned that sun in their eyes, as we had predicted earlier.
Snyder brothers might want to invest in some sunglasses because both of them were talking about losing their braking point in the glare. Well, it was a wild race here, but a couple of national champions were crowned today, Barkow and Snyder in FE2 and FE.
I probably need new tires.
You do.
What if they sold tires online?
We do. We're TireRack.com.
They could offer lots of tires
We have so many tires.
and help you find the right tire.
It's called the Tire Decision Guide.
Oh, and they could ship them to a nearby mechanic.
We shipped over 7,000 independent recommended installers.
This is an amazing idea.
Sorry.
TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Experience the reimagined Mazda 3.